For years, I convinced myself my marriage to Issa was perfect. On the outside, it looked ideal, comfortable, stable, enviable. But behind closed doors, Issa had mastered a silent form of control. Whenever I disagreed or didn't meet her demands, she'd withdraw. No arguments or loud fights, just cold, suffocating silence. She'd ignore me, make me feel invisible, and sleep with her back turned, like I didn't exist. I spent years trying to appease her, offering apologies even when I wasn't at fault, trying to restore the balance. But deep down, I knew this wasn't love. It was manipulation. One night, after a trivial argument, I refused to apologize. For the first time, I let her silence wash over me without chasing after her warmth. It was a turning point. I realized I had been living in a fog of suffocation, trying to please her and earn her affection. Now I was free. I didn't need her approval anymore. When Issa demanded an expensive designer bag for her birthday, I refused. The silent treatment began, but this time I didn't cave. I didn't chase after her or apologize. I stopped caring. Issa's efforts to regain control through subtle gestures, fake sweetness, failed. I was done. As I started living for myself again, rediscovering things I had neglected, I became someone different. Others began noticing, including Issa's friends who saw me for the first time as someone with his own voice. Issa didn't like it. Her control was slipping and she didn't know how to handle it. At a gathering, Celeste, one of Issa's closest friends, remarked on how different I seemed. Issa was uncomfortable, irritated, but I didn't care. At home, Issa tried to revert to her old manipulative tactics, but I didn't react. I stayed distant, not chasing her validation anymore. That night, Issa finally rolled over in bed, trying to regain control by resting her hand on my arm. I didn't respond. The next morning, she tried again to care about my needs, but I saw it for what it was, damage control. She was scared of losing me, but I wasn't going back. From then on, I stopped playing her game. Issa couldn't manipulate me anymore, and she had no idea how to handle it. It had been one of those late-night outings, the kind that had become more frequent. Issa had left early, citing a headache, but I knew she couldn't stand the way her friends, especially Celeste, were looking at me. She knew something was off, though she didn't know what. After a few drinks, it was just Celeste and I. She leaned in and asked, "How long are you going to keep playing this game with Issa?" I smirked and replied, "I don't think I'm pretending anymore." Celeste, always direct and unapologetic, reached across the table and touched my hand. It was a simple gesture, but something inside me cracked. I didn't pull away. For the first time in a long time, I felt seen. And that feeling, so intoxicating, was all it took. The shift started subtly. Issa noticed I was no longer chasing her approval, and the cracks in our marriage began to show. She dressed up more, tried to win me back, but it was too late. One night, Issa demanded to see my phone. When she found proof of my connection with Celeste, she confronted me. I didn't apologize. I was done. "I don't love you anymore," I told her. She was stunned, but beneath her rage I saw fear. She had lost control. For the first time, Issa realized she couldn't manipulate me. She tried to fix things, but I saw her for what she was, someone who used love as a weapon. I told her, "You only want to fix things because you're afraid of being alone." And that was the truth. She'd never considered I might stop trying, that I could walk away. As the days passed, Issa desperately tried to win me back, but it was too late. I saw her, truly saw her, and I couldn't go back. The power had shifted. I wasn't the one begging anymore. One day she asked, "Do you love her?" referring to Celeste. I didn't know if I loved her, but I knew this. I'd never felt as alive as I did when I was with Celeste. Eventually, Issa begged me to stay, but I didn't give her what she wanted. "You don't love me," I said. "You're just afraid." That was the moment she understood. She had spent years manipulating me, and now she was the one left to deal with the emptiness she created. I packed my things, told her it was over, and walked away. For the first time, I was free.